Hey guys, um, welcome to another video tutorial. In one of my previous videos, I took you on a virtual behind the scenes tour of my website as to um, how did I pretty much design. It was more of an overview, so how the design came together and how was I updating. I also took in some of your questions and I answered them in the video itself. Um, in this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes in a place called the dashboard. So this is the Blogger dashboard, and we are going to talk about how all of these bits and pieces, like posts, pages, stats, how does everything affect the live website version that you see right now. So this is my website, abhijagupta.com. And if you haven't seen my previous video, the one I'm mentioning right now, I'll post a annotation link on the video right now. I'll also post the link in the description below so that you can get to know more about the website, my own website, in more detail. So in this video, we're going to get technical. We are going to use simple HTML. I'm not going to complicate stuff because my main motive in this one is to try to inspire you to go ahead and experiment and maybe also try to give you some useful tips and tricks so that you can start using some of that knowledge in your own design right away. Um, for simplicity's sorry, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to simplify the syllabus for today. So we're not going to go into super details. We're not going to go into advanced stuff. So I am going to try to keep the level of this video as a beginner level. So, all right, so let's get into it. So this is my website. You've already seen this in the previous video. Um, and what it basically looks like at the back end. This is the dashboard for Blogger. As I said earlier, Blogger is a service provided by Google, and the dashboard basically starts with an overview. So what an overview tells you is how many page views did you get today? How many posts do you have? Followers used to be a thing. It was a gadget earlier. I think I uninstalled it a couple of years ago, so I'm still on that lucky seven. um, the next part is posts. Posts is basically all of the posts that you've made on your website. So every single one of them is going to tell you um, how many page views have you received. For example, I've got on my all music post, I've got like 587 visits. So those are all unique visitors on different posts on my website. And then it will also tell you whether or not you have some scheduled posts or you have drafts or um, anything and everything that you've been working on. And then you've got pages. And pages again is the same concept. Like I can see that the about page has 1239 unique visits. So what's the biggest difference between a post and a page? If I go back here on this one right here, as you can see, these are the pages. So if I was to click about, you would see that it's abhijagupta.com/p, P is for pages, /about.html. So it's a page and it's a short link right there. So this is the about me page, and then it goes on. So when you're designing the page, which we will cover shortly, um, it's not different than a post, but then when you publish it, it is different, and we will talk about that. Okay, if I go back to home, now you've already seen the page link. So now if I was to open up a post, you would see that it's got bajagupta.com. That stays the same because that's your domain name. slash 2015, that's the year, slash 03. So March. Yes. So that's March. So that's the major difference. When you publish a page, it goes under slash p slash page name, and then when you post a post, it goes under the year slash month slash whatever the name of the post is. But then, as you can see, it pretty much looks the same as in content-wise. They look the same. There's not much of a difference in that way. Okay, so that's about it for posts and pages. And then Google Plus pretty much is for linking to your Google Plus account. I have a Google Plus page, and this is my Google Plus page right here. Um, it's plus Abhijah Gupta music. So as I mentioned in the video earlier, um, Google provides a variety of services and a variety of such products that you can use. So you've got Blogger, you've got Gmail, you've got Google Plus, you've got YouTube, and the best part about it is that they all integrate with each other. So they work really well with each other. So right now, the way it is set up is anything that I post on Blogger, so any post that I make right here automatically get published on my Google Plus page as well. So, for example, I made a post on the one-man band and why and how I got into musical keyboards. So I published that on my Blogger site. It shows up on Google Plus, and I've even linked my YouTube to that. So as you can see, it's got Abhijah Gupta commented on a video on YouTube. So I made a comment on YouTube, but then it links it back to Google Plus. So that's pretty much what's going on there. Starts is a very interesting page. Um, it starts with an overview, so it pretty much tells you um, a lot of stuff that you can kind of see here. For example, what are your top 5 posts? I've set it to all time right now. So these are my top 5 posts. And then you can further go down in post itself, and then you see by post and by pages. So the maximum hits I got was on downloads. They're all free downloads, by the way. If you would like to check them out later on, please feel free. So that's again, it's a page. So it's p slash free music, and then um, it's a Dropbox link pretty much. So when you click on that, it's taking a while to load today. Okay, so when you click on that, it opens up the directory from where you can access all of these folders, and then you can download stuff in MP3. So that's the way I've linked it up over here. And then traffic sources pretty much tells you what are your top referring URLs. So SCM Player is something I really, really love, and SCM Player is what gives me this bar right here. So this playlist on the side that you see, all of these songs are being hosted on SoundCloud, and all of these are linked to the blog via SCM Player. So the the best part about that is that I can hit play right now. It would start playing. I can go anywhere I want on the website, and the music doesn't stop. The music continues playing, so there's no interruption. That's the beauty of it. So I really recommend that, and we will look at that as well shortly. Okay, and then I've got audience. So audience pretty much tells me page views by countries, page views by browsers, and by operating systems. So maximum of my visitors are Windows users. They're still using Internet Explorer for I don't know, some unknown reason. And most of them are from the States at 26,000. So this is an all-time stats for my website. Earnings and campaigns, I'm going to skip over. Earnings is pretty much AdSense, and campaigns is for AdWords. So that is if you want to advertise on your blog, and if you're trying to make money from that, which is great, but I think it's a little too technical for now. So we're going to skip on that. Layout is pretty much what defines the structure of your website. So we start with the navigation bar, which in this case I have disabled. I'll explain why and what is what it is all about. So when we're going to design the other one, we're going to see, and then I'll show you how to disable the navigation bar. The header and the pages is what you see right here. So this image right here is called the header, and this is the page tab. So that's header and pages. And then you move down and you see you've got blog posts on this side. And then you've got search this blog, subscribe to updates, join me on Facebook, Google Plus badge. You've got all these gadgets on the right hand side. So blog posts on the left and these gadgets on the right. And that's exactly what you see here. This entire thing is blog posts. And then you've got search this blog, subscribe to updates, join me on Facebook, Google Plus badge. So it's the exact same gadget, but in a visual manner. So the structure is defined by the layout tab itself. Now, when it comes to template is basically where you decide what you're going to choose for the design aspect. So in my case, for example, I've chosen simple, and we will go through a few of these shortly. And I start with simple, which is the second option under simple right here. So you've got simple, you've got number 2, and then I customize it further. But then Blogger also offers you dynamic views, picture window, awesome ink, watermark, all of these. So that's really your choice. It really depends on the type of website that you're trying to make. I am going to try to focus on making a music website. So um, but I do encourage you to play around with other stuff here. For example, you've got travel for people who are travel bloggers, or you've got um, for photography. You've got a good variety of templates here that you can use. And then for settings, pretty much you've got stuff like um, importing or exporting your blog, or even deleting it if you don't want to. Google Analytics basically is, remember how we looked at the stats? So Google Analytics is is good if you want to look at it at a more like in a more in-depth um, manner. Search preferences, language formatting, mobile email. You can pretty much skip this part, this entire portion right here, because it's good the way it is set up by default. And yeah, so now we are going to move on to the um, the test site, which I already am on. So I'm going to close this one, close that. Don't need this. Google Plus. So we've got the test dashboard. We have my blogs. We have the test preview. Okay. So basically what happens when you go to Blogger, when you go to blogger.com/home, you get an option to do new blog. So you can click on new blog. It tells you to give it a title, an address, and then it checks right away if the address is available or not. So if I was to type bajagupta.blogspot.com, it automatically says, sorry, this blog address is not available because that's mine. But if I was to, I don't know, give it a crazy number, it says blog address is available. So this pretty much determines what kind of address you want to have for that. And then the title, and then you can pick a template from this window itself, and you can always customize that later on. So I've already done that. So I'm going to close this tab. I've already created a Bajagupta test, and this is what it looks like. It's blank. It's absolutely blank right now. That's the that's the blog name. There are no posts to show. It's the simple template powered by Blogger. That's all. So this is where you start from, pretty much. Now we are going to go to layout, and then in layout you're going to see um, this kind right here. Now, if this looks overwhelming, don't worry about it. We are going to go through each of these pieces right here, and then I'll also show you very cool stuff under template customize. So customize gives you numerous options to play around, and then you will be able to see how I made all of this stuff right here on the side. So we've got a Bajagupta test and it's blank right now. So go back to layout. Now, as I said, navigation bar. Navigation bar pretty much is the typical blogger header. So you're going to have the blogger icon, you're going to have search this blog, and then you've got share and next blog. But usually, if you're making your own blog or you're designing it yourself, you don't really want that in the way. So the last option is to turn it off right here. So you select that and then you just hit save. So it doesn't show up here. It's just blank as it is. And then you've got the header. Now, the header image, as I described earlier, in my case, for example, this is the header image. So in this case, we've got header, we've got blog title, blog description, image. You can either select it from your computer. That is if you if you are into graphic designing and you design your own stuff, then you can make your own images and then you can choose that from your computer and then just hit save and it will be uploaded. That's what I do. I design my stuff on Photoshop so I can use that. But for now, for simplicity, we are going to paste a URL from the web itself, and you can see that it gives you several options on the placement. So you've got behind title, instead, have description placed after the image, or shrink to fit. Now shrink to fit is a good option because I usually use that to get to know about this number. And this number right here, 1070 pixels wide, pretty much tells me how wide my um, blog is. So I believe my own blog or my own website here is 1350 pixels wide, I believe. So so that is why this number is important, 1070, because you do not want your header image to be overshooting. You don't want it to be going outside this. So as you can see, it's got the same distance from here and from here. So that's why that number is important. But for now, we're just going to pick up a number. We already know that it's 1070 pixels wide. So we pretty much go to Google, and then we do, let's see if we can find music header for that. Go into images. Now, if you were to bring your mouse over these images, you would notice that it tells you on the side the dimensions. So this one is 969, that's not bad. 1994 is going to be too wide, it's going to overshoot. 940, that's a good one. Let's use this one. let's use this one. So what I did was, I'm going to take a step back. I clicked on the image, I did view image, and then image shows up. And then here's the link. You copy it up, and you've got your header thing open already from edit. So from the web, paste the URL, you paste it right there, and it shows up. Now I don't want the name to be overlapping on top, so I'm going to do instead of title and description, and then I just hit save. So once I've hit save, it says change is saved. I do save arrangement just because I want to be sure, and then I hit refresh. All right, so we've got a header image now. So that Abhijit Gupta test is gone, and now we've got a header image right here. Now we know that this is 940, so what we are going to do in this case is we're going to go into template, we're going to go into customize, and this is basically the fun part of it because it gives you so many options to customize everything that you can think of. So we're going to go to layout for now, sorry, adjust width, and then you've got 1150 and our dimension is 940. So I'm going to bring that down for now. As you can see, it's giving me a real-time preview of the changes that I'm doing right now. So if I was to bump it up, it goes all the way. You can see the difference right here. So if I bring it down, it's kind of centralizing that for me now. Oh, too far? Too far maybe? Tiny bit more, slightly more. So this part is usually more of a hit and trial, and but then you finally get a number. So 1030 pixel wide. And how I know that is because now I have a header image and then my no posts bar right here is right in the center of that. So it is a guesswork, but then it works. So once you've done that, you want to do apply to blog. Template applied, and then we do refresh. And now it's in the center. So you've got your header image down. All right. The header image is right there. Now, the next thing which you can do is, since you're already here in the Blogger template designer, is you can go to layout. And now in the layout, you can see that it gives you two options. Either you change the body layout or you change the footer layout. Now, for the footer, if you notice, you've got three different blocks right here. And that's why you've got footer 2.1, 2.2, and 2 and 3. If you want one single footer, you change that to 1, the very first option right here. And then that makes it just 1. If you wanted 2, you choose the second option, and then it brings it right here. So it really depends um, on the type of design that you're going for. Um, I usually go for just a single footer because I like to put stuff on the side. So for now, what's happening is everything is vertical. So you've got navigation bar, header, and cross column, blog post, footer, footer. So now we want to add stuff on the side. To do that, again, you've got 8 different kinds of options. So by default, it's taking the first option, which everything is vertical. And then what you can do is you could choose the second option. So the second option gives you a sidebar right away. So now you've got blog post on the side, and then you've got sidebar on the right hand side. So now you can start adding gadgets later on. And that's exactly what I'm using here. So I've got blog posts on this area, and then I've got the sidebar to the right. So this entire area is the sidebar for my site. Once you have made your selections on the body layout and the footer layout, apply to blog, template applied, and then you will notice that when you refresh here, your no post thing has gone to the side. It has shrunk to the side because now you have a sidebar which does not show up right now, but then it will once you start populating it. So before we go into the advanced stuff, the advanced tab, which is full of these options and it's beautiful. But before we go into the advanced tab, we are going to populate some of the stuff below so that we can see what's actually going on the other hand. Now, on the advanced tab, the second tab right here, or the second option right here is background. So you choose background and then background image. If you were to click on that little drop down menu, this opens up. So you've got select background image. Now you could either upload an image, so that would be again from your computer, or you could choose from the categories that are already provided to you on the other side. So you can do abstract, you can do the arts, for example, you could choose that. So as soon as you click on it, it pretty much applies it on real time on the back, so you can right away see what's going on. And then you can choose, you can play around with all of these background images that are provided to you. So if you're making something on books, if your blog is about books, that's a blog for that. If your blog is about art or graffiti or something, that's something that you might be interested in. If it's just like a journal or something, maybe you want to go for that. So it really depends on the kind of blog that you're designing. But since we are trying to keep it as a music blog, we are going to um, go for something which is um, more music oriented. So I've pretty much chosen a lot of stuff here. I like the sound wave option. It again, it depends on what you're trying to do. But for now, let's just say we chose this one. So now we have chosen this one. We need to do apply to blog. You need, you also need to remember that whatever changes you make on this site, they are not applied until and unless you click on apply to blog. Then once you have done that, we do refresh, and now you can see that you have a background image on your blog. So we've got the header, we have worked around the layout, and now we can start adding some of the gadgets on the sides. So to do that, you need to go back to Blogger, you go to layout right here, you do add a gadget, and then in add a gadget, oops, sorry, in add a gadget, you see that you have a whole bunch of stuff available to you. So it starts from AdSense and then it goes to blog archive, HTML JavaScript. That is if you have a code snippet from a different website or a Facebook. For example, you have a Facebook page and you want to add one of those page thingies. For example, this thing right here that I have on my website, I got this code from Facebook. So I would put that under HTML JavaScript. But then something like subscribe to updates, which is email oriented, that one is already provided by Blogger. So that would be followed by email, and then you just hit plus. Um, Now, the thing that you are going to see on this case is that a test is actually not live. So if you were to actually type in abhijaguptatest.blogspot.ca right now, you will not be able to enter this area because it's a private blog. It's a test blog. So it's a sandbox for me. So this one is not live. So that's why it says that we couldn't find or create a feed burner feed. and make sure that your blog is public and you have enabled the feeds. So it won't let me add that right now. So we're going to skip on that. But then in your case, you can easily just, when you're going to click on plus and when you're going to see that, it's going to generate a feed burner URL for you right away. And then you just click save and it gets added to it. But what we can do is, I believe I should be able to add, um, what is it? A Google Plus badge. I think I should be able to add that. Yes. So Google Plus badge right there. Um, Now, depending on the type of Google Plus account that you have, I've got both. I've got a person and then I've got a page. So I choose page. Of course, doesn't look like a valid Google ID. That's fair. Again, because my blog is set to private, it doesn't really let me access stuff outside. So I'm going to stick to person. Use the blog's profile. That's good. Size, I recommend keep it to automatic. Layout, portrait, landscape, really your wish. Color theme, since our background right here is all white, light is good. Cover photograph, tagline, that's pretty much optional. If you want it, keep it enabled. If not, disable it, and then you click save. And now when we go back, we see that we've got sidebar and we've got Google Plus badge right on this side. So now when I refresh, it should, yeah, it shows it right here. So that's this Google Plus badge is pretty much what I have right here. The only difference is that on my website, I customized it a little further so that it's a small little box instead of a big box like that. So that's pretty much the same concept that I would use to add the Twitter thing. I think I should be able to do that. I am going to cheat on this one. I'm going to pick up the code from my original one. Your code is going to be different. If you want to know more about how to embed your Twitter widget to that, send me a message. I'll show you how to do that. Um, this code will not work on yours. Technically it will, but then it will be showing my status updates. So you need to enable it in your Twitter settings. So that's a different discussion altogether. So I do Twitter, I do save, and let's see if it shows it up. It may or may not. It does. So we've got tweets and then we've got Google Plus badge right here. So now I've added two of these. So, so far what we have done, we have created a header image. So we have a header image, we have sidebar gadgets now. So one is a Twitter box, the other one is a Google Plus badge. And now we need to focus on the blog post itself. So how the blog post works is you go into posts and then there are no posts. Obviously, it's a new blog. So you do create a new post. Creating a new post, you give it a good title. So um, you could do introduction, or you could do um, let's do welcome to my blog, and then um, if you're not comfortable with, oh dear, there we go. Um, if you notice right now, it was typing in those codes, and that's because if you hold Control and Shift key for more than 3 seconds, it changes your keyboard language from English to French, I believe. It's something like that. So um, the way to fix that is just hold Control and Shift for more than 3 seconds, and you're back. So it's an open tag. Now I'm assuming that you have a very, very simple understanding of HTML or how it works. H3 tag pretty much is a headline. tag. So the headline tag goes from H1 to H6, and Blogger is smart that way because if you open up a tag like H3 right here, it says your HTML cannot be accepted because it's not closed. So that instantly tells you that you might have opened up something, but maybe you forgot to close it. So um, you type in whatever you want to do. Hello world. I know it's cliche, but it works. So H3 and then you close H3 and then the warning disappears. And then now you've got three options right now. Either you could publish. So as soon as you hit on publish, it's going to go live. It's going to be on your blog right away. Or you could just click save and it's going to save a copy of it. Or you could do preview. Now preview is an awesome option because you click on preview, it opens up a window and it shows you what it's going to look like. So you can see that it says preview on the side, and then that's your blog, that's your post title, and that's your post content. So hello world in H3, and then this is what it looks like right now. Now you can also see that you've got two different modes. You could either do compose, and I believe in this case I should have done compose. I do apologize for that. Compose is a much simpler way for people who are not very comfortable with HTML. So what it's going to basically do is that whatever you're going to type, like you do test text one, test text two. So whatever you're going to type here, it pretty much um, renders it in HTML code. So if I was to select this and then click on bold, all I see here is the text itself. But then if I go back to HTML, you can see that it inserts the B tag, and B stands for bold in this case. So it adds the tags for you by its own. So what I would recommend in this case, you should start with the compose mode, type whatever you want to in this one, and then if you are comfortable with HTML, you can always go back and modify the tags in between. So, for example, um, if you are comfortable with this, then you can always add an I tag. I stands for italics in this case. So when you're going to look back in your compose mode, you can see that this text has been italicized. So that's basically how they work. They work hand in hand. The compose mode is more of a graphical interface where everything is accomplished by the use of a button. The HTML side is where you basically have to code everything by yourself. Now, this also gives you an option right here to um, change the text color, maybe text background color. So you maybe want to highlight this text in yellow. You do that, it gets highlighted right away. If you were to go in HTML, it adds all this interesting style, background color, yellow, and but then again, now you don't have to worry about that because you're in the compose mode and all you care about is what it looks like here because Blogger is going to take care of the coding in the backend. Now that you've done that, you can always come here, you can do link. So that is to add or remove a link. For example, I want to do visit my other website. Click here. If I was to do that, if I select click here, do link, I can either link it to a web address, an email address, and web address would be, in this case, it would be uh, my own website. And then I can also do open this link in a new window. What that basically means is that when people are going to click on this, either if you don't select that option, when people are going to click on this, it's going to open right here. But if you select the open in new tab, it's going to create a new tab on the side, and that's where the link is going to open. So I really recommend that you use that option so that your own page does not close down. Your page is open and the link opens in a new tab. All right, so far so good. Then we've got images, insert image right here. Now insert image, you've got upload from this blog, from Picasa web albums, from your phone, from your webcam. You can pretty much choose any option over here. If I was to do from a URL, paste an image, we have already used that one, so maybe um, maybe let's look for something different this time. I like this quote. Music and rhythm find their way into the secret places of the soul. So same thing, view image, we copy the URL from top and then paste an image URL right here. Do that, it shows up. And then you do add selected and the image is right here. Now you can choose whether it's small, medium, large, extra large, original size. Where do you want it? You want it left? Do that. You want it right? Do that. You want it centralized? Click on center. And that's pretty much the image tag. You can also insert a video. So I believe it just uploads a short clip to the post itself. Um, you can insert a jump break. You can do alignments, numbered list, bullet list, quotes. So pretty much all kinds of formatting that you would see in a document editing stuff software like Word, for example, or OpenOffice or Google Docs or anything of that sort. It's pretty standard. These commands are pretty standard. So now that you have done that, you can click on preview again. Clicking on preview is going to open this up, and then you see welcome to my blog, hello world, test text, visit my other website, and here's the image that we inserted. So this is still a preview mode, remember that. If you were to go on your live site right now and you were to do refresh, nothing shows up because that's not live, that's a preview. So to make that live, all you need to do is click on publish. But before you do that, before you hit on the publish button, you've got these options right on the side. So now you can do labels, and then in labels, for example, it's pretty much, think of it as hashtags. Think of it as hashtags, but it's labels in this case. So the only difference is that it won't start with a hashtag um, music. It won't start with a hashtag. It will just start with music. That's it, comma. So all of your tags, all of your labels need to be separated by separated labels by commas. So you've got music, you've got introduction, and um, you've got quotation, for example, and then you click on done. So those are your labels that are going to show up for this. On your schedule, you can do automatic, which means as soon as you hit publish, it's going to be out there live for the world to see. Or you could set a date and time. This is scheduling. So, for example, you want to post this 3 months from now. So you can set that over here. So what you would do, you would go into set date and time. You would do the month, and then you would pretty much go up, up, up. For example, you want to do December. So December 2015, 31st. 31st December 2015, 10:48 p.m. That's when I want this post to be published. So you do done, and it's scheduled now. So now when you hit publish, it's not going to post. It's going to wait for December 31st, 2015, and then post at 10:48 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So that's your time zone. Permalink, you don't have to worry about that. Location, if you want to add your location, you can always do that. Options, it gives you backlinks if you want to allow or not. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Compose mode, show HTML literally or interpret, and then line breaks. Use BR or press enter. Now line breaks pretty much what it is. The BR tag stands for break. So whenever you insert BR, it treats it as a enter. So if I was to do A, B, C, enter, and WTF, because why not? That would be in HTML world, it would be ABC and then it would be BR. So in HTML, it would show up as BR and then WTF. So that's what that basically means. But then you don't have to worry about the options. It's all good. Now in schedule, because we want to look at it right now, we go to automatic, we do done, we remove this stuff because we don't need it, and then we do publish. Now when you publish it, you can see welcome to my blog, edit, view, delete. That's your first post, and that's the number of posts right there. So that's one post right here. Those are the tags that you assigned, and then your comments and your page views. Obviously, this will, in my case, this will always stay zero because it's a private blog, so it's not accessible to the open public. So in your case, however, when you're going to publish anything, um, every time a unique visitor visits your website, this counter keeps going up. So that's how it works. Now we've got the preview tab. We can close this one, and then we've got our live tab. We're going to do refresh, and you can see welcome to my blog, hello world, visit my other website, click here. So click here is right there, and then when I click here, remember we set it up as open in a new tab. So because we did that, the original site remains open and the link opens up in a new tab. So now we have seen how to create a blog post, how to add a layout on the site, how to work with the header image, background images. Um, the next thing I'm going to show you is pages, and then that should be about it. So now we've already created posts, as you can see. Now this says the Bajagupta test posts, and then if you click on pages on the side, it does Bajagupta test pages. And when you do new page, you could either do new page right here, or you could do create a new page right here. A similar format opens up. It's the same window, the same controls right here, and the same HTML view. The only difference that you can see is that it doesn't have labels, it doesn't have schedule, it doesn't have those options. It only has one option, and that is line breaks or compose mode. So pages are different than posts, obviously. Now, in this case, we're going to do about because it's a page. So about, and then we're going to do um, my name is Baija, and I'm typing a mock introduction. Sure, why not? And then you're like, uh, you could be A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you're like, and then you select these three, and you do a bullet list because why not? And then you do a bullet list right here. So you've got this setup on your page for about. Now, because we do not have other options as such in this case, all we do is publish. So as soon as you hit publish, it shows up the exact way as we saw for the posts. But now in the posts and the pages, when you view this right here, it opens up in the same way. However, the difference lies in the way it is mentioned. So I've got a Bajagupta test.blogspot.ca/p/blog page. While on the other hand, I've got 2015/06 slash welcome to my blog.html. So that's the major difference in the way the page is. But that's not all, because we want to have this, like this right here. We want to have that. So we're going to add that right here. To do that, you go back to your dashboard view, you go into layout, and then you've got add a gadget right here, because we want it on top, right after the header, but before the main content. So we do add a gadget, scroll down, and you're going to find pages right here. And then you've got home is set by default. Yeah, it's already there, so you can use it. And then about is the page that we just created. So we do save, it adds pages for us, and then now when you hit on refresh, now you've got home and about. So now you've got two entries. So home is the blog post or the posts that you're going to make after that. About is a standalone page. So you can have multiple pages here, like I have. I've got about, and I've got photos, store, downloads, live, and so on and so forth, all the way up to contact. So you can have the same thing going on. All that's different in that is the content. So about is going to have stuff about yourself. If it's photographs, it's going to be more like a photo gallery, and so on and so forth. Now, now that we have already looked at this, to refresh this one as well, got home and about. Now that we have looked at the overall structure, we have seen about blog posts, page, header, sidebar, background. I'm going to take you to template, customize, and then we're going to go into the advanced tab. Now the advanced tab, we've already looked at the background, so the background is good. But then the difference between this and this is that this background gives you the option to choose an image. This background gives you the option to choose the color. So that's the main difference over here. Header background stays transparent, that's good. Main background is this color right here. So by default right now it's white. If I was to choose blue, it changes the color to blue. Changes to purple, changes to purple. So um, depending on the color scheme that you use for your own logo, for your own music, for anything that you use, that's what you would be playing around with. I usually just go for white because it's easier to work with white. And then you've got links. Now over here you've got visit my other website, and then you've got click here. Now click here right now it shows up as black. That's because the link color is set as black. But then if I was to change that to blue and then visited color was to be blue, that changes into blue. There are three types of link colors that you can choose from. The link color is by default. What does your link color look like by default? Visited, as the name suggests, is if I've already clicked on that, what does it look like now? So you can always choose the same color for all three, and this kind of maintains a consistency, because then people know that that's a URL and you don't have multiple colors going all over the place. Then you move on to blog title. Now, since we chose this header image to replace the blog title and description, this doesn't apply in this case. So we skip that. The tabs text. Tabs text is this one right here. Now you can choose the font. So now um, you can have something cool looking. You can do um, let's see, what do we want here? Dancing script maybe, from 12 pixel to let's bring it up to let's do 24, because why not? You see the font has changed. And then the color of the text, black is good. Selected color, black works. Tabs background. Now tabs background, that's the color of the tab. So the selected tab, for example, right now is grayish. I can change that to blue, for example. Or Even I can change the background color of this thing itself from transparent to any other color. But I usually keep it on transparent because it's easier to work with later on. Post title is this part right here. You can change the font for this one as well. Date header um, is if you enable that, I'll show you in a minute. If you enable the footer options, then you will see date header. So at what time did you post? Who was the original author of the post? And other such details. Gadgets. In gadgets, you've got these titles right here. So Twitter, Google Badge. Um, you can always choose something funky looking if you want to. Maybe bump up the size a bit. Change the color if you want to. There we go. Images. Images defines stuff for the image. So as you can see right now, it's got a border, it's got a shadow by its side. So border color right now, if I select the drop down and if I choose transparent, then it kind of fades it away. And then background color, same thing, transparent. So it goes light. The border line goes very light in that case. Then we've got accents. You don't need to worry about that. Mobile button color, again, no need to worry about that. Add CSS. Now, this is going to be super helpful to people who are fond of adding their code to or modifying or tweaking the HTML code, which is already provided to you. So in this case, what you can do is you can add your own custom CSS without having to go into the template mode. So I'll show you that as well, that where the HTML is, but I do not recommend making changes to that directly until and unless you know exactly what you're doing there, because you don't want to wreck anything over there. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying that if you're not comfortable with modifying HTML, do not go into that place. So um, custom CSS in this case, I have a sample with me right now. I copied that from my own blog. So I copy that, put it here. And I don't know if you noticed, but the image right now is shifting. If I bring it back to 0, you've got a little bit of a space here. So you see this little space right here. But then if I was to do that as minus 40 pixels, that is the exact um, that is the exact height of the navigation bar that we switched off in the very start of the video. Um, you can eliminate that little space right there. So that's how you add custom CSS. Um, and then as usual, you need to apply to blog. Template applied. This is your main page. You refresh and suddenly you can see the changes. So right away you can see that the gadget headline has gone bold, it's big, it's a different font, different color, the blog post looks different, the tabs look different, and there's no space up top anymore. Um, this is the old view that we had, and now we have tweaked it a bit. So now that you've gotten so far in the video, now you can see that all of this design right here, or this font, or the coloring and all, it's not that hard now, is it? So it's all playing around within the advanced tab, and then choosing different fonts, choosing different colors, and then just going with that. So the final thing that I'm going to show you now in this one is um, this button right here. We are in template. We have already seen customize. Then the very next button is edit HTML. So if you were to click on that, this opens up the HTML view, and that is why I do not recommend messing around on this one, because it's got a lot of coding right here, and there are 1964 lines of code in my view right now, and that's why I do not recommend playing around if you are not sure about what you're doing. Okay, so that being said, there is one more thing that I must show, and then we can call it a day. SCM player, the one that I mentioned in the very start, this one right here, because we're trying to create a music blog or a music website, definitely we want to add a element of music into this one. So there are two ways to do that. Either we're going to pause on this one. We're going to pause on the SCM music player for now. We are going to go back to posts. We're going to do edit. I'm going to open up my SoundCloud account. Most of the streaming sites that we have the option to share and then embed. So that gives you two different kinds of options. Um, and based on that, you can pretty much choose. So I'm going to, for example, choose the second one. This is SoundCloud right now, um, but then it also spits out code for WordPress, for example. So you can use that in that way. So I've got the code there. We just opened up the blog post right here. So in this case, now I need to go into HTML because I've copied HTML code. So I can see that I've got space right here in the end. I just post that here. You don't need to understand what this code is for now. That's a little too technical for this level. Let's skip that. All you need to know is that I've copied an embed code from SoundCloud into this one. And now I do update. So I've updated that post. Now if I was to update this one, because we made a change to the blog post itself, now I've got a SoundCloud widget. So now I've got my music in real time right here. All right. So now that we have that, we are going to go back to SCM music player. And this is where you pretty much choose the type of player that you want. So for example, I'm going to choose this one, this player right here. Edit playlist is where I um, copy my SoundCloud URL. So you go back there, you have edit playlist, you've got playlist URL, paste, configure setting. Now you can already see that it's picking up stuff from my SoundCloud right away. The entire playlist is already updated to mine. Then you do autoplay. Please do not do that. That's super annoying. Don't do it. Autoplay stays disabled. Shuffle playback is good because then it's going to play random tunes from the entire playlist. Default volume 50 is good. Repeat mode, you can do playlist once, repeat item, a playlist. And then where do you want the bar? You can either have it top or at the bottom. Top works better because people notice it more. And then you do done. As soon as you hit on done, it spits out the code again. So this one is pretty much the only advanced part of this video because now we are going to go into that 1964 lines of code and we're going to find the body tag. So don't be worried. I'm going to show you how to do that. We've copied this code. I'm going to go back to layout, sorry, template, and then we're going to do edit HTML. Now in edit HTML, um, the body tag is usually at the start. So I'm trying to manually find it right now. Probably not a very good idea. Ah, there it is. Line number 659. It might be a little different your end, I'm not sure. But if you can't find the body tag, usually just use Control F. It opens up the search and then you do tag body. Hit enter, it's going to highlight it right away. So that's where we need to insert the code. We need to insert the code right after this line. So we do enter, paste. I usually like to give a space of a line above and below so that when I'm reading the code back later on, I can quickly go to that. So now that we have that in place, we need to save template. It's saving. We're good. And hopefully now as soon as I refresh, it should show up on this end. There we go. There we go. So I've got my playlist set up right here, the entire playlist. Um, that's the SoundCloud widget, which SoundCloud itself provides. SCM Player is a third-party application, and but then it's got the play bar on top. It's got my playlist on the side. So to review what we have done overall today, we created a a fresh blog from scratch. We configured the header image right here. We added page tabs. We added pages. We created a blog post. We embedded a SoundCloud player from the website itself, so pretty much from your profile, Twitter side, um, sidebar gadget, and then a Google Plus badge. So if you set this up properly, and of course, if you play around with your own color combinations, I'm pretty confident that you're going to come across your like a set of your own favorite colors, a set of your own favorite configuration, and then obviously because you will keep experimenting with all these settings, I am pretty confident that eventually you'll be very much more comfortable with the output that you are making. So now that you've seen everything happening right here, um, I'm going to assume that you can kind of figure out how I came across this stuff. That's a header image. That's pages tab. Those are gadgets on the side. This is a blog post with image and then images right here. And yeah, that's about it. So we've been in this session for an hour and 7 minutes at this time, and I really hope that you have enjoyed the session and that you have gained a lot from it. And please feel free to drop in a comment or ask a question. Send me questions on the contact page right here, or even connect with me on Facebook if you want to. Um, on Facebook right here, there should be an option. Um, there will be an option message right here. Yeah. So you can click on message and then you can send me a message directly, and then I will get back to you and we'll see and we'll work through whatever issues you're having, and then obviously have loads of fun, and feel free to share your blog links with me. So if you create a new blog or if you create a new website using any of these methods that I've shown you or anything of that sort, please share it with me. I would love to check out your designs, check out your music, and yeah, thanks for watching.